Let's be honest, most men think they need to be perfect to attract a woman. They think if they have the right job, the right body, the right style, she'll automatically notice them. But here's the brutal truth that nobody tells you. Perfection doesn't create desire. In fact, sometimes the opposite happens. Women aren't drawn to flawless men. They're drawn to men who dare to be imperfect in ways that feel real, unpredictable, and compelling. And yet, most men go through life making the wrong moves, unknowingly igniting attraction by doing things society has told them are wrong. Take the first thing, the art of disinterest. You've been told to always chase, to always respond instantly, to always be available. And yet, the women you can't stop thinking about, the ones who linger in your mind long after you part ways, are often the ones drawn to men who do the opposite. They want a man who isn't afraid to disappear for a moment, who has his own life, his own challenges, his own fire. That subtle detachment, that ability to not chase relentlessly, creates a tension that lights up the chemistry between you. It's not about being cruel, it's about demonstrating that your life is full, magnetic, and untouchable in ways she can't control. When you chase, you signal neediness. When you pull back, you signal value. And women feel that pull deep in their subconscious. They can't help it. Then there's the power of being a little unpredictable. Most men hide their quirks because they're afraid she'll judge them, afraid she'll leave. But what if I told you that what women secretly crave is a man who surprises them, who breaks the pattern, who challenges expectations? It's the guy who laughs at the wrong moment, who does something impulsive, who doesn't overplan every single interaction. These wrong behaviors, when done with confidence, make women feel alive in your presence. Predictability is comforting, yes, but it doesn't create desire, uncertainty, controlled chaos, and a spark of rebellion. That's what hooks her attention and keeps it. And let's not forget the controversial truth about vulnerability. Society tells men to be stoic, unshakable, unemotional, but the men who show glimpses of inner struggle, who reveal fragments of their real selves without fear, become irresistibly human when you let her see the cracks without begging for her to fix them. You tap into a primal psychological response. Women are attracted to men who show strength through authenticity, not perfection. You don't have to be flawless. You just have to be real in ways that challenge her emotionally. And that emotional tension is magnetic. By now, you're probably realizing something uncomfortable. The very behaviors you were taught to avoid, the wrong moves, the missteps, the imperfections, are often the secret triggers of desire. But the key is execution, done with confidence, subtlety, and awareness. These wrongs become powerful tools in your dating life. Done clumsily or anxiously, they push her away. And here's the kicker. Understanding this isn't about manipulation. It's about understanding psychology, about stepping into a deeper version of yourself, where attraction isn't about pleasing her. It's about being a man whose presence naturally evokes desire. So, as we move forward, keep one thought in mind. Desire doesn't come from trying to be perfect. Desire comes from mastering the art of being unapologetically yourself, even when that means doing things wrong. The first wrong move that makes women crave a man isn't what you think. It's breaking the rules of politeness in subtle ways. Most men walk on eggshells, worried about being too bold, too forward, too assertive. But here's the truth. Women are wired to respond to men who show decisiveness and confidence, even if it bends social rules just a little. It could be a playful tease, a challenge, or even a little stubbornness in your opinions. These are behaviors that society often labels as rude or wrong, but when done with charm, they ignite intrigue. She feels the edge, the strength, the independence, and subconsciously she wants to be near it, drawn to it like a moth to a flame. Then there's the art of contradiction. Women are naturally curious. They crave mystery, and most men present themselves as fully predictable, as if following a script. Nice guy, steady, agreeable. But the men who stand out are the ones who break the script. One moment you're playful, the next serious. One moment relaxed, the next intense. This unpredictability, when combined with confidence, keeps her guessing. And guessing is the emotional roller coaster that fuels attraction. She doesn't know what's coming, and that uncertainty triggers desire in ways you can't fake. Here's another wrong move. Ignoring conventional timelines. Society teaches men to rush, to plan, to orchestrate every interaction according to some invisible rule book. But women are instinctively drawn to men who operate outside of these rules. Men who are present in the moment, who don't feel pressured to rush intimacy, emotion, or commitment. A man who lives by his own rhythm, who doesn't feel the need to force outcomes, becomes magnetic because he signals inner stability and freedom, two qualities that subconsciously scream high value. And we can't overlook the power of selective attention. Most men make the mistake of trying to respond to every signal, every text, every mood, but the men who unknowingly make women obsess over them are the ones who choose their focus carefully. They engage, but they don't overengage. They make her work a little, wonder a little, and feel her heart quicken when they finally show attention. This wrong behavior, deliberate yet natural, creates tension that chemistry feeds on. Women don't crave the man who is constantly available. They crave the man who is rare, valued, and unpredictable. Someone who makes them feel the thrill of earning his time and attention. Finally, let's talk about the quiet rebellion, expressing your opinions even when unpopular. Most men shrink to please, fearing conflict. But women are drawn to men who hold their ground, even if it causes small friction. It signals strength, emotional stability, and a backbone, qualities that go beyond looks or money. She doesn't just want a man who agrees with everything she says. She wants a man who challenges her mentally and emotionally, who is unafraid of being disliked sometimes, and who doesn't compromise his identity for approval. So here's the hard truth. All these behaviors society labels as wrong are actually secret engines of attraction when done with confidence, awareness, and authenticity. They're not about manipulation. They're about being alive, unpredictable, and fully present in ways most men are too afraid to explore. The next wrong move that makes women desire a man is something most men fear, showing controlled defiance. Most men are trained to comply, to be agreeable, to avoid rocking the boat. But here's the truth. Women are secretly drawn to men who break subtle rules, who don't just go along with every request or expectation. It's not about rebellion for the sake of conflict. It's about demonstrating inner strength, self-respect, and a sense of authority over your own life. When a man respectfully disagrees, holds his ground, or refuses to bow to pressure, it sparks a sense of tension that women subconsciously associate with high value. That tension is magnetic. Then there's the wrong art of emotional mystery. Men are often told to share, to open up immediately, to be emotionally transparent at all times. But women are drawn to men who reveal just enough to intrigue, leaving her wanting more. You don't have to pour your heart out on day one. You don't have to explain every thought. When you maintain an air of emotional depth that isn't fully accessible, she naturally leans in, curious to uncover the layers beneath. This isn't manipulation. It's understanding human psychology. Desire thrives on what is slightly out of reach, what keeps her wondering and emotionally invested. Another wrong move is embracing imperfections publicly. Most men are obsessed with appearing flawless, masking any flaw, hiding mistakes, and pretending to have it all together. Ironically, it's the man who isn't afraid to laugh at himself, admit a tiny failure, or display a small vulnerability in front of her who becomes captivating. This signals confidence, humility, and authenticity, the combination that creates emotional safety and sparks a deeper connection. Women can sense when a man is comfortable in his skin, even with imperfections, and that comfort, it's sexy, it's rare, and it makes them crave more of your presence. Then we have subtle challenges. Most men avoid conflict or disagreement, thinking it will push a woman away, but women are often drawn to men who challenge them intellectually, emotionally, or playfully, creating a sense of push and pull that triggers attraction. A well-timed tease, a slightly contrarian opinion, or a playful debate isn't rejection. It's chemistry. It keeps her engaged, thinking about you long after the conversation ends. Desire thrives on tension. Comfort is safe, but tension is unforgettable. And here's the most misunderstood wrong: being unapologetically self-focused. Too many men fear women will leave if they prioritize their passions, goals, and personal growth. But women don't want a man who sacrifices himself for approval. They want a man who lives boldly, unapologetically, and independently. someone whose energy and drive are contagious. When you invest in yourself, your life, and your ambitions without asking permission, you send a powerful message. You're high value, and your time is worth earning. That sense of autonomy is intoxicating. So, here's the reality. Most men don't realize the wrong behaviors that society warns against. Defiance, mystery, imperfection, challenge, and self-focus aren't mistakes. They're the psychological triggers that ignite desire on a primal level. The sparks that make a woman think about you when she's alone, the subtle cues that make her heart race without knowing why. One of the most counterintuitive things men do that makes women want them more is ignoring conventional expectations of politeness and predictability. Society trains men to be careful, cautious, and agreeable at all times, but desire doesn't thrive on caution. It thrives on boldness, wrapped in subtlety. A man who breaks tiny rules, who teases, interrupts playfully, or flirts with a hint of mischief, sends a message she can't consciously articulate. He's alive, he's confident, and he's not afraid of judgment. That mix of charm and defiance triggers a chemical response in her brain that makes her want more of your attention. Then there's the magnetic pull of selective intimacy. Most men believe they need to share everything immediately. Every thought, every feeling, every detail of their life to build connection. The truth. Women are wired to crave the slow reveal, the man who allows her glimpses into his world rather than handing it all over at once. When you master the art of selective disclosure, every interaction becomes charged with intrigue. She notices the moments you open up, cherishes them, and can't help thinking about what you're not saying. That tension, that's desire being quietly engineered. Another wrong behavior that creates attraction is taking risks without showing fear. Most men are taught to avoid mistakes, to play it safe, to maintain control at all times. But women are drawn to men who move boldly, who take small, calculated risks. Whether it's a spontaneous adventure, a candid confession, or a confident decision that could go either way, risk signals courage, autonomy, and strength. Qualities women feel deeply on a subconscious level. When a man demonstrates this quietly but consistently, she doesn't just respect him, she feels drawn to him emotionally and physically. Then we have the power of subtle withdrawal. The men who make women obsess are often the ones who step back strategically, creating space that allows desire to flourish. Most men panic and overcompensate when they sense disinterest. But stepping back isn't about playing games. It's about allowing her to experience your absence and reflect on the value you bring to her life. This controlled distance isn't rejection. It's a psychological magnet. Women naturally chase what they can't fully grasp, and giving her that space makes her want you more without you having to say a word. And finally, there's the wrong art of imperfect confidence. Society tells men to be flawless, unwavering, and always certain. But the men who attract women are often slightly flawed in their delivery, hesitating just enough, admitting a tiny mistake, showing a trace of vulnerability while still maintaining core confidence. That combination creates a tension between strength and humanity that women find irresistible. They feel both safe and excited at the same time, and that paradox keeps their attention locked on you. So here's the truth that most men will never hear. Attraction isn't about following rules, being perfect, or avoiding mistakes. Attraction thrives on subtle rebellion, mystery, selective presence, calculated risk, and imperfect confidence. These wrong moves done consciously or even unconsciously tap directly into female psychology, sparking desire that feels natural, unforced, and deeply compelling. The next wrong behavior that makes women want a man even more is something most men are terrified to try, showing intense focus on what matters to you, even if it ignores her temporarily. Most men are taught that attention equals affection, that every text must be answered, every need immediately met. But here's the truth. Women don't desire men who are endlessly available. They desire men who have their own purpose, their own fire, and aren't afraid to let her feel a little longing. When you are fully engaged in your life, your work, your passions, your growth, she notices. She subconsciously respects it, admires it, and feels the pull of wanting to be part of that energy. Then there's the paradox of controlled unpredictability. Men are taught to be predictable and reliable at all times, but women are drawn to men who mix consistency with surprise. One moment you're steady and grounded, the next you show a spark, an impulsive idea, or a sudden burst of creativity. That fluctuation creates excitement and emotional tension, and women subconsciously equate it with confidence, freedom, and the thrill of being alive. Predictable men are comfortable, but rarely unforgettable. Another wrong move that triggers desire is expressing subtle dominance without aggression. Most men misunderstand this entirely, thinking dominance means controlling or overpowering. But women are drawn to men who take the lead subtly, guiding interactions, setting the pace, and asserting their preferences calmly and confidently. This isn't about intimidation, it's about presence. It signals that you are in command of yourself and your life, and that security is deeply attractive on a primal level. Then we have embracing emotional complexity. Most men are trained to be simple in their emotions, to hide uncertainty, fear, or subtle vulnerability. But women are magnetically drawn to men who show layers, moments of introspection, intensity, and emotional depth without asking her to fix it. These glimpses of complexity create fascination, drawing her in like a puzzle she wants to solve. Emotional safety combined with unpredictability is one of the most potent triggers of female desire. Finally, the most powerful wrong behavior of all, being unapologetically yourself, even when it contradicts what she expects. Society tells men to conform, to adapt, to mold themselves to gain approval. But desire ignites when a man honors his truth, even when it creates friction or uncertainty. He doesn't apologize for his passions, his quirks, or his choices. He doesn't shrink to fit her comfort zone. That unapologetic authenticity creates a tension she can't resist. A mix of respect, admiration, and attraction that goes beyond physical or superficial chemistry. Here's the truth most men miss. All these behaviors focus, unpredictability, subtle dominance, emotional complexity, and authenticity are socially wrong but psychologically irresistible. They aren't manipulations. They are expressions of a man fully inhabiting his life and presence, and women are instinctively wired to respond to that energy. The more you master these wrongs, the more she feels drawn to you, thinking about you long after you've gone, craving your energy, and unconsciously seeking your attention. The final truth about attraction that most men never understand is that women crave intensity more than perfection. They aren't looking for the man who ticks every box, the one who has polished routines and a flawless image. They want the man whose presence is felt in every room he enters, the one whose energy makes them stop, think, and feel something deeper than comfort or routine. That intensity comes from embracing the wrong behaviors we've talked about, the unpredictability, the defiance, the vulnerability, and the unapologetic pursuit of your own life. Then there's the subtle power of letting her chase emotionally without forcing it. Most men believe they must constantly lead, constantly initiate, constantly prove themselves. But desire often grows when a man creates space for her emotional investment. By balancing attention with absence, availability with autonomy, you create a psychological pull that makes her wonder, what is he thinking? What will he do next? That curiosity is desire in its rawest form. Another key wrong behavior is showing your passions without seeking approval. Women are drawn to men who are fully immersed in their own pursuits, whether it's career, art, fitness, or adventure, without worrying about whether she approves. That singular focus signals confidence, purpose, and a life worth joining. And women feel an instinctive pull toward that energy. They don't just like it, they want it. Then we have the wrong move of controlled emotional intensity. Most men are afraid to show fire, anger, or profound passion for fear of rejection. But a man who expresses his emotions intensely yet responsibly, whether it's frustration, excitement, or desire, creates a magnetic tension that women subconsciously respond to. Emotional highs and lows, when balanced with self-control, create memories and feelings that linger far longer than a polite, neutral presence ever could. Finally, the ultimate wrong behavior that makes women want you more is being unapologetically real in every interaction. Not perfect, not rehearsed, not trying to earn approval, just present, confident, and fully himself. Women sense authenticity on a primal level. They can feel it in your body language, your voice, your energy. That authenticity creates desire without manipulation, without games, and without artifice. It's raw, unshakable, and unforgettable. So here's the question you need to ask yourself right now. If desire is the product of tension, mystery, and unapologetic authenticity, what's the one wrong thing you're willing to embrace today to become irresistible? Drop your answer in the comments. I want to see your truth. And if this video opened your eyes to the secrets women notice but rarely tell, like the video, subscribe for more psychological insights, and share it with a friend who needs to hear this. Because let's be honest, mastering these wrongs isn't about manipulation. It's about stepping into the man who commands attention, ignites desire, and leaves a lasting mark, whether she admits it or all